Hello and welcome to the August 2019 Sunshine Summit finale. This week I've brought to you a week of live streams to recognise and celebrate connections, and it's been an incredible week with 9 groups of amazing guests, some wonderful people in the live chat, some great people listening and catching the replays afterwards and sharing their feedback. So thank you to everybody who has been involved this week. I really appreciate it. To our 9 guests, it's been amazing that you've been here and been able to share your stories, because the connections that we make on our journeys are really important parts of how we got to where we are, part of the learning journey of making content and sharing it. But in general, in life, we make connections wherever we are, and we as people watching this can learn from those and celebrate them and be inspired and uplifted, and I really hope that that's happened for you this week. The guests have been amazing and helped me a lot, because this week I've had an awful connection to the sickness. I've not been well at all this week, and it's been really hard. And luckily last night I finally connected with a really good night's sleep, so I feel a million miles better than I did throughout the week in terms of my health, but I still really enjoyed every segment that we had. And I just want to say thank you to the guests for being able to keep the conversation going for me and to work with my transitions that are awkward. My connection to interviewing skills is still really primitive and I'm still learning, but each time that we do this, it's an amazing opportunity to have conversations and to hopefully learn something and get better at it. I definitely got down with the sickness this week. It wasn't good. Typical as you try and keep yourself healthy in the lead up to something, especially a live event, when the show must go on. You've made these arrangements to have everyone come by and check it out, but we did it. We managed to go live for 9 live streams, and today, the 10th one. I wanted to hop on by myself to kind of share a few of my highlights. And if you have highlights from this week, I would love for you to share them in the chat. That would be amazing. Thank you to Adam and Bandrew and Luke, Liberty, Ducky, and everyone who's there at the moment. We had a comment earlier from Liberty, and he said that they've been... when I find it, that it's been an amazing summit, and he enjoyed Lisa and Sam from I Shake My Head. They were uplifting, and he went back and watched their original appearance too, which was awesome, and then rewatched some of the other ones as well. So that's very cool. They are there as replays, and if you do miss them live, that's okay. If you have anything you want to share from each video, pop it in the comments. And we did have a comment left on a video, yesterday's Geeks Rising one, that it looked like a lot of fun, friends laughing and hanging out together. So really appreciate Ruben who left that comment in the chat. So we've had, as I said, 9 groups of amazing guests. We had Kate and Derek on day 1. Kate hosts Ignorance Was Bliss, and Derek is part of Rolling Misadventures, and together they've created a new show called Life World. We were also joined by Bettina and Ninorah, the co-hosts of NRI Woman, Dave Lee from International Podcast Day and the Waves of Tech, and I'm really excited about International Podcast Day coming up September 30th this year. It's going to be a good one. Curran joined us. He is from the Podcast Engineering School and show, and has the Podcasters Lounge, which is a live stream that he does weekly, connecting with other podcasters. You can hang out, and yeah, it was good to have him on. He's also been, since then, been at Podcast Movement this week. So to anyone who may watch this afterwards who went to Podcast Movement, I hope you had a really good time. In-person things are a lot of fun, but this one is something that's accessible by anyone, anywhere around the world, if you can connect to the internet. And I'm going to get to my internet issues later on, because that's a recurring theme of the summit. We were also joined by Chris Green, and it was amazing to talk to him, because Underdog podcast community has been a fantastic place that a lot of my guests over the 4 summits that we've now done, which blows my mind that we've got to 4, but a lot of the guests have been a part of that group and made really valuable connections and genuine connections there. So if anyone's not already aware of that one, do check it out. Then we had fellow Geeks Rising member Ben Brown, and Bandrew just said that I love the session with Ben. It's always so great hearing what he's doing and how he's spreading awareness for Tourette's. and he may be biased towards Ben, but I think that's all good. I actually saw on Ben's Instagram and maybe Twitter today that he someone has put a sticker or had put a sticker of the Tourette's podcast on a car, and it went round a racetrack. So it was part of an event, and that was so cool to see, like a connection someone's made in the UK, and proud to display his sticker on the car or on her car and have it go. So that was awesome. Apparently, Luke has a computer that is having a slightly hard time existing at the moment. Might need to upgrade. Here. I have that problem also. This week, my computer has struggled really hard, but also my internet struggled. And right before I was actually due to go live with Ben, my whole internet completely cut out. And that was quite awkward. It's never a good thing to not be able to connect, especially when you're trying to put on something like this. So I need to sort that out, and I don't know how to do that because out here rurally it's a little bit hard. Maybe one day I'll find a place in the city that I can do it at, but yeah, I've kind of changed the settings for today's stream, so hopefully it goes a little bit smoother. We'll see. After Ben and the amazing chat with him, we had Chris Osborne and Karrington Martin, and it was a lot of fun to talk to them. They have a great connection with each other and a great support network, and a great opportunity to sort of collaborate on things. And that's important, to find a good group of people that you enjoy and that are supportive and help you with what you're doing, like being guests on each other's shows and things. Then we had Lisa and Sam, and that one was hugely important because earlier, as we mentioned, Lisa had suffered from a heart attack, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go. You never know. And luckily she survived that and went through surgery and survived that also. And then she shared her story of not only her friendship with Sam, but the connections that came out from the experience of having a heart attack, but also some of the signs that she had, which weren't very many, and it was very quick in the actual moment when she was having one. So just being aware of her situation and what happened for her can help other people sort of check in with themselves. And yeah, I'm just glad that she was able to be a part of the summit this time round as well. And then yesterday we had the Geeks Rising Network, and it was amazing to see Malcolm and Zach on the live stream with Logan, and to have Bandrew back again for another summit. But it was a lot of fun, and yeah, their connection with each other and how well they get along, and the banter backwards and forwards is fun, and it's awesome, and they're a great network and a great group of community to be a part of. Ducky said networking is amazing. Yeah. So those were our amazing guests this week. Call back to yesterday's live stream. Bandrew said our banter may have been a little bit out of hand, Drew. Oh dear. I loved that Steph actually shared that on social media, and she said, because she wasn't able to catch us live, but she watched the replay, and she commented on that particular part that, it was about the Ask Bandrew segment a new segment coming into the Bandrew Says podcast. And if you want it, Chris Curran said, if anyone who wants it, sort of raise your hand, Drew. But yeah, it's fun. There's lots of connections that are made with puns, good, bad, or otherwise. And there were a lot of great questions that came out in the chat. And I want to shout out to Liberty for being there a lot this week. It was amazing to have you just participating, but asking questions. Thank you. And yeah, to everyone who was there. There was a lot of new connections made, I feel, with people learning about our guests for the first time. So that is awesome. In order to do this week, we had some amazing things happen. I had an amazing connection with Shannon Martin, who is the communications manager or director at Podbean. Podbean's a platform to host your podcast, but also to find and listen to podcasts to listen to. And they have a mobile app, and she was able to help get a banner for the Sunshine Summit on the Podbean app that ran for this week to help encourage people it would take them to my podcast. But there I had the promo for the event, and it was the idea of kind of raising more awareness about it and hopefully helping people connect with it. And that's actually done an amazing job of bringing new people to Sunshine and Power Cuts. So for that, I'm truly grateful. We had a huge spike in people checking out the show this week. So welcome to everyone who's new to listening. And hopefully you'll be able to stick around and want to stick around. We also had some more connections made this week on YouTube. We've gained some new subscribers. So thank you to people who have decided to click subscribe here on YouTube. We did have a connection problem with YouTube and embedding the live chat at sunshinesummit.live, which was a little bit frustrating. I haven't worked that out yet. I kind of just, in the end, went with embedding the video and saying that the chat would be on YouTube, and I think people have found it. I'm sorry if that was a bit inconvenient anyway, but yeah, again, thank you to the new people who have subbed. So we're at 90 subs, which is exciting. Hopefully one day we'll make it over 100. And in the meantime, it's been great having the live streams here and having them as replays in the playlists. And if you want to, feel free to share them around and tag me or just use the hashtag Sunshine Summit 2019. That would be amazing. And yeah, if you haven't watched them, they're there to watch later. Another thing, apart from it being the fourth event, we've had 2 events each year. We had one in March 2018, which celebrated sort of 6 months into podcasting, but also I tied it in with my birthday, because what better way to celebrate your birthday than connecting with a whole bunch of people that you really enjoy for a whole week. It was very exciting. And then this one in August celebrates the podversary of the podcast. So last year was the first anniversary. This is the second anniversary, and it's very exciting to be here 2 years later. It's been a rough ride. My connection with having time to put into it lately has been a little bit low, but my idea is to keep working on it and make really good connections with the themes that I bring out and the way that I prepare them, so that hopefully they're really good things to listen to and useful and helpful resources in the future. Well, Luke was one of my guests, and he said, "Remember that guy Luke from last year and his hat." Next time you're a part of the summit or something, Luke, you'll have to have a different hat to bring with you, or maybe a pocket watch. Have you had any other highlights from this week? Let me know what they might have been. I do appreciate everyone who has shared it on social media so far, like Steph. Steph's been wonderful. She's taken screenshots of the stream and shared them, and Steph has the Geopats podcast, and she has some great connection stories. She interviewed me for the podcast, and so we talk about the Sunshine Summit and the kind of behind the scenes of everything, which was awesome. Hey, Stephanie, just talking about you. Thank you so much for all of your support and for sharing everything. Yeah. Andrew said that Chris Curran's laugh was a huge highlight for me. His laugh always makes you laugh, which is contagious. It's contagious. I agree. It was a lot of fun having Chris on. He has so much energy and passion, and he is very fun. And it was also great to have Barry with him with the clips as well. That makes me laugh. For Ducky, who is in Russia, the highlights are screwing up the sleeping schedule. And yeah, I had fun on my summit. Yeah, oh yeah. But he would do the same again. Thank you so much, Ducky, for waking up early, or waking up just for being here. I think it's incredible that you, across the time zones and how early in the morning it has been, that you've been able to make it, or that you've caught the replays. I really, really appreciate it, and all your support. After this one, I am considering having one summit next year just to mark the anniversary of the podcast in August. It's kind of, there's a lot of new projects that are happening in the coming months, and I just feel that I want to get back on board with the podcast and make it as good as I can, and also work on some of these new things. And one of the new things that is out, that has been announced this week at as Podcast Movement was happening, but in a press release, is that there is an International Podcast Association being formed, and I happen to have the privilege of being one of the board members of that. So the aim of the International Podcast Association is to kind of bring everyone together for a place where they can find resources and information to help them. It is going to be like a membership directory. It's going to be industry representation. It's going to help with thank you for the congratulations. It's going to help with so many things, just to help everyone in podcasting on their journeys so that they can keep podcasting and keep making the amazing things that they want to make, and to help out with best practices and all of those good things. So as I am really passionate about connections and helping people and just bringing people together, I'm very, very excited to be a part of this new venture. I hope that we are able to raise all the funds that we need to be able to get it off the ground and do all this wonderful stuff that we're aiming to do with it. But yeah, that is a huge highlight. Very grateful for the opportunity to be a part of that, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what we can do with it. Thank you for the congratulations, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how we get on. Outside of that big announcement, the next one I have is, instead of doing a summit in March, my aim is to travel next year and to make some in-person connections with amazing people that I've made connections with online through podcasting. And that includes a trip to the States in May 2020. So I know that's one specific place in the world to go to, but it's very large and there's a lot of people there. So I am hoping that I'll be able to fit everybody in the time frame that I'm aiming to be there. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a little while since I've done a big trip like that. The last one when I went to Canada was in 2005. So yeah, it's definitely going to open up some opportunities for interviews and things. And yeah, Ducky said that I knew that you're not going to meet me, but Ducky, one day, somehow maybe, we'll get to meet, and that would be amazing. In the meantime, we'll stay connected as we do. So there's that. I hope that's something. Yeah, that's going to be a big trip, and I'm looking forward to planning that out and making all the arrangements and finding how I'm going to make it all work. But yeah, it's an opportunity that I am not going to leave. I think it would be amazing to make the most of that. And yeah, Sunshine and Power Cuts on tour will actually become a reality, probably. Don't know what like in-person live things other than something that we're working on will be, but just being able to see people rather than not. Bandry said, if you two meet, myself and Ducky, we could do a live stream. Ducky and Heather equals Deathery metal. That sounds interesting. Luke said, I think the first international podcast AGM should be on the island. Well, there you go. Maybe we could make that happen. Yeah. It's huge. There's a lot going on with that then, and planning a huge trip like that is also massive. So that's kind of what next year's plan is at this stage. And though we've managed to get through, I don't know how many guest appearances because my math is not great at the moment, but quite a lot for 4 rounds of the Sunshine Summit. We'll definitely come back strong in August 2020 with the next one. Liberty said that we'll keep the power on in the US for you in May. Thank you. I would appreciate that. I'm looking forward to that. Sightseeing, traveling, experiencing things. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. What else have I got? I think those are the big things that I wanted to share. Just wanted to thank everyone, and yeah, thank you for believing in me, for taking time out of your day to come to the live streams or afterwards to watch them. Just your support has been incredible. I don't think I would have carried on if I didn't feel supported and if I wasn't passionate about doing them and connecting with the people that I'm talking to. It's a huge honor to have people's time that they generously give up to participate, just to talk to me or to watch it or what have you. It's an opportunity to do that because the show isn't naturally one of interviews and things at the moment. But yeah, thank you, and thank all the guests and everybody. It's awesome. Does anyone have any questions or any suggestions or anything that they wanted to share while we're here? The next podcast episode that has been underway for a long time is called The Long Dark, and it is kind of taking a theme of, there is a game called The Long Dark, and it's about survival. And so it is literally my survival episode from autumn here in New Zealand through winter, which we've gone through, and there hasn't been an episode come out. So also it's been the long dark in terms of not releasing episodes. So it's a little bit quirky in that sense that I call that out. But it's an interesting one. There's a lot of points in it of how I've got through this one because it's been really tough. The whole week of the Sunshine Summit, except for when Lisa and Sam were on, was absolutely terrible weather. Luckily, my backup generator survived this week because otherwise that would have been a huge, huge challenge. I had to charge everything up every morning before we went live, and then the only connection problem, apart from like the bad weather, was that the internet problem happened and it disconnected for me. So we managed to get through that eventually, and hopefully it's been stable today. Ducky reminded me that I didn't say anything about the journey on this 2-year trip. So back in 2017, when I decided to launch this, it was, again, a really hard winter. And the idea behind it was to really give me something to work on to help lift me up, to be creative, because being creative helps me get out of my head and do something else, and to put that into something that was this opportunity that I hadn't had before. It's kind of like a little, it's hugely rewarding being able to hear something that you've made, not just see it on paper or like in a journal or something. And I wouldn't have known what it would have done working through the themes for other people. I just thought that if I make something that I wanted to listen to, then hopefully somebody else might listen to it as well. It's been hard because, on the same note, trying to create something when you're not in a good space is very difficult, I find. And keeping to schedules when things throw a spanner in the works and make the time management thing really hard has been a challenge. So yeah, I just appreciate everyone who's stuck with it over the 2 years while I try and figure it all out, how the podcast is going to go, what themes I do cover, and how often they end up coming out. But yeah, the main undercurrent that I've connected with was that I wanted them to be light, bright, and motivational for the Sunshine episodes, to be short so that they don't take up too much of people's time, and so that I could share a little bit of the behind the scenes of what this journey's been like along the way. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to the Long Dark episode coming out because it's going to be one that shares and shows the struggle that this year has been. So, yeah, it's like anything, it's always scary launching something, and I've had a lot of support along the way to make that possible. And hopefully I've been able to be helpful and support for other people starting on their journeys too. I definitely want everyone to be successful in what they're passionate about, or to find ways to help them along the way. And yeah. The summit is a permanent feature. So just what I'm doing for next year is I'm taking out the March one. And it will just be in August. I'm not letting go of the Sunshine Summits because for me, it's really important to connect with people this way and to share their stories, and a lot of people get value out of it, and I just really enjoy it. So whether people want to watch it or not, it's up to them, but it's still, the Sunshine Summit is still a thing. It has its home at sunshinesummit.live, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out a connection going forward to have the chat there just to make it easier. But yeah, Adam has made a huge compliment or message in the chat. He said, podcast or no podcast, we're here for you. And that means the world to me. Adam, you have been an amazing supporter over this whole journey. That, it's very cool to have people support, no matter what. Just because. And Ducky said, but the podcast is shiny and sunny. Yeah. And Steph agrees with Adam. Adam, yes. So the Sunshine Summit's here to stay. The podcast is still here. It still exists. People are still listening. That was quite interesting over the time in between, is that there were people still listening and re-listening and sharing it. And Chris Osborne was one of the people who was a big sharer of the podcast with people that he thought could benefit from listening to it. And the main one that he pointed them to was the Ebb and Flow episode, which was awesome. I'm glad that one's kind of resonated with a lot of people. Yeah. I've, on the note of the Sunshine Summit being still a thing, I already have guests lined up also. So yeah, I'm not letting them down, and I'm looking forward to sharing them in the future. And the opportunity it gives me to make new connections too, not just for everyone who's part of it, but I get to make some new connections as well. So that's awesome. And Chris is awesome. Yeah. I don't want to hold up your time too long today. I just wanted to come on and sort of share a little bit about how it's all been going and my thoughts. Yeah. Adam said that he thinks Chris has that episode on continuous repeat. Quite possibly. He listens to it a lot. But again, that's what it's for. If you download them, you don't have to stream them again. So, I mean, you can listen to them as many times as you want. And that's one of Steph's questions earlier this week, I think, was what podcast do I listen to relax? And that's what I made the Sunshine and Power Cuts podcast for, was for me to take a moment to listen and to be in the moment. And that's what I encourage everyone to do, is just stop, listen. Well, actually, you don't have to stop at all. Wherever you are, just it's a few minutes to hear something a little bit different. Yeah. So it's for me just as much as it is for anyone else. And those people who find it and stick around, that's amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah. It has been a good one. Even with the health issues, I still feel they went relatively well. I may have spaced out and found my transitions really hard, but yeah. Sharing is important. Being open to sharing your story. Podcasters are kind of great too, because they kind of like sharing their stories for the most part and talking, and that really helped, especially with me not being super well. They upheld the conversations this week, so that was awesome. I hope I feel better soon too. Like I said earlier in the stream, I managed to get a decent sleep for once, which hasn't happened in a really long time. That's a connection that I need to work on going forward, is how much sleep I get. But yeah, really appreciate it. Really appreciate everyone who was a part of it. And yeah, looking forward to everything that is coming. Lots of exciting things. And just going back to the International Podcast Association, there's actually a survey that they've got about how we can help you. So I will link that somewhere eventually for everyone to fill in, because it's really important to know what will actually help everyone on their journey so that we can make it the best thing that it is. Sleep can be tricky to connect with. Life can be tricky. But on that, I think there's a lot that can help us and empower us and get us through, even if we have to go through the dark moments. Thank you for the link in the chat. There was something that I saw earlier, and I've got a mind blank now, but like Chris Green, for example, made a show where he could be flexible with it and have it so he could do whatever he wanted in it and not feel sort of obligated in the end. Be flexible, learn from it. Stephen John Drew and Stargate Pioneer had a really good live recording of their Better Podcasting episode today, which was sort of checking in with yourself about what you might want to improve and how you might go about doing that. And that was very, very uplifting to sort of see what your plan might be and how you could work that out to get to where you want to go with what you're creating. So the survey for the International Podcast Association is important so that we can help make sure there are the features and things that people want and need, so that it is helpful. Liberty's got being a robot's helped me. I just wish I didn't eat my programmer as my first meal. Yeah. Thank you, Ducky, for doing your part there. That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that wherever you are on your journeys and what you're doing, that the connections that you're making with yourself and the art that you're creating are, I want to say going well, but what I mean is like, just keep connecting with it and keep being passionate about it. And if it is a struggle, reach out and ask for help and look for where there are places that you can get that help from. And yeah, don't give up on the connections that you've got, because they are really important. They are one of the most important things that we have. There was, actually watched last night before I went to sleep, the Matrix, the third Matrix Revolutions, and in there was a quote that Ducky likes, I think, but also one that I like on connections, and it's about what the connection implies that's important, and it was talking about love. But Ducky had... Sorry, Steph, that the stream blipped. Hopefully it comes back. Ducky's quote is about why do you persist? Smith is asking Mr. Anderson, and... No, wait, hang on. Smith is Mr. Anderson. Got myself confused, and he's asking Neo why. Why does he persist? And Neo's response is, because I choose to. And I think that's hugely important. We have a choice, and sometimes it's not easy to make a choice, but yeah, choose to keep on going. Choose to keep making connections and celebrating them and making content or not. Make a choice. Yeah. So thank you again for being here. Check out all of the replays. Really appreciate you. And until next time, because yeah, unless anyone else has anything else, let me know. Oh, cool. Yeah, until next time, be empowered by nature.